Hello everyone, and welcome back to Project Moon Audiobooks. Today's episode will be Part 3 of the Odyssey by Homer. This will cover books 5, 6, and 7. I hope you enjoy. Book 5, From the Goddess to the Storm. Then dawn rose up from bed with Lord Tithonus, to bring the light to deathless gods and mortals. The gods sat down for counsel with the great Thunderlord Zeus. Athena was concerned about Odysseus's many troubles, trapped by the nymph Calypso in her house. "Father, and all immortal gods," she said, "no longer let a sceptered king be kind, or gentle, or pay heed to right and wrong. Let every king be cruel, his acts unjust. Odysseus ruled gently, like a father, but no one even thinks of him now. The wretched man is stranded on an island. Calypso forces him to stay with her. He cannot make his way back to his country. He has no ships, no oars, and no companions to help him sail across the wide-backed sea. His son has gone for news of his lost father, in sandy Pylos and in splendid Sparta. They plot to kill the boy when he returns." Smiling at her, Lord Zeus, who heaps the clouds, replied, "Ah, daughter, what a thing to say! Did you not plan all this yourself, so that Odysseus could come and take revenge upon those suitors? Now use all your skill, ensure Telemachus comes safely home, and that the suitors fail and sail away." Then, turning to his son, he said, "Dear Hermes, you are my messenger. Go tell the goddess our fixed intention, that Odysseus must go back home. He has endured enough. Without a god or human as his guide, he will drift miserably for 20 days upon a makeshift raft, and then arrive at fertile Scheria. The magical Phaeacians will respect him like a god, and send him in a ship to his dear homeland, with gifts of bronze and heaps of gold and clothing, more than he would have brought with him from Troy if he had come directly with his share of plunder. It is granted him to see the ones he loves beneath his own high roof in his own country." Hermes heard these words. At once he fastened on his feet the sandals of everlasting gold with which he flies on breath of air across the sea and land. He seized the wand he uses to enchant men's eyes to sleep or wake as he desires, and flew. The god flashed bright in all his power. He touched Pieria, then from the sky he plunged into the sea and swooped between the waves, just like a seagull catching fish, wetting its whirring wings in tireless brine. So Hermes scudded through the surging swell. Then finally he reached the distant island, stepped from the indigo water to the shore, and reached the cavern where the goddess lived. There sat Calypso with her braided curls. Beside the hearth a mighty fire was burning. The scent of citrus and of brittle pine suffused the island. Inside, she was singing and weaving with a shuttle made of gold. Her voice was beautiful. Around the cave a luscious forest flourished, alder, poplar, and scented cypress. It was full of wings. Birds nested there but hunted out at sea. The owls, the hawks, the gulls with gaping beaks. A ripe and luscious vine, hung thick with grapes, was stretched a coil around her cave. 4 springs spurted with sparkling water as they laced with criss-cross currents intertwined together. The meadow softly bloomed with celery and violets. He gazed around in wonder and joy at sights to please even a god. Even the deathless god who once killed Argos stood still, his heart amazed at all he saw. At last he went inside the cave. Calypso, the splendid goddess, knew the god on sight. The deathless gods all recognize each other, however far away their homes may be. But Hermes did not find Odysseus, since he was sitting by the shore as usual, sobbing in grief and pain. His heart was breaking. In tears he stared across the fruitless sea. Divine Calypso told her guest to sit upon a gleaming, glittering chair, and said, "Dear friend, Lord Hermes of the golden wand, why have you come? You do not often visit. What do you have in mind? My heart inclines to help you if I can, if it is fated. For now, come in, and let me make you welcome." At that the goddess led him to a table heaped with ambrosia, and she mixed a drink, red nectar. So mercurial Hermes drank and ate till he was satisfied, and then the diplomat explained why he had come. "You are a goddess, I a god, and yet you ask why I am here. Well, I will tell you. Zeus ordered me to come. I did not want to. Who would desire to cross such an expanse of endless salty sea? No human town is near here, where gods get fine sacrifices. Still, none can sway or check the will of Zeus. He says the most unhappy man alive is living here, a warrior, from those who fought the town of Priam for 9 years, and in the 10th they sacked it and sailed home. But on the journey back, they wronged Athena. She roused the wind and surging sea against them, and all his brave companions were destroyed, while he himself was blown here by the waves. Zeus orders you to send him on his way at once, since it is not his destiny to die here, far away from those he loves. It is his fate to see his family and come back home to his own native land." Calypso shuddered and let fly at him. "You cruel, jealous gods! You bear a grudge whenever any goddess takes a man to sleep with as a lover in her bed. Just so the gods who live at ease were angry when rosy-fingered Dawn took up Orion, and from her golden throne chaste Artemis attacked and killed him with her gentle arrows. Demeter, with the cornrows in her hair, indulged her own desire, and she made love with Iasion in triple-furrowed fields, till Zeus found out, hurled flashing flame and killed him. So now, you male gods are upset with me for living with a man I saved. Zeus pinned his ship and with his flash of lightning smashed it to pieces. All his friends were killed out on the wine-dark sea. This man alone, clutching the keel, was swept by wind and wave and came here to my home. I cared for him and loved him, and I vowed to set him free from time and death forever. Still, I know no other god can change the will of Zeus. So let him go, if that is Zeus's order, across the barren sea. I will not give an escort for this trip across the water. I have no ships or rowers, but I will share what I know with him and gladly give useful advice so he can safely reach his home." The mediator, Zeus's servant, replied, "Then send him now. Avoid the wrath of Zeus. Do not enrage him, or one day his rage will hurt you." With these words, he vanished. Acknowledging the edict sent from Zeus, the goddess went to find Odysseus. She found him on the shore. His eyes were always tearful. He wept sweet life away, in longing to go back home, since she no longer pleased him. He had no choice. He spent his nights with her inside her hollow cave, not wanting her, though she still wanted him. By day he sat out on the rocky beach, in tears and grief, staring in heartbreak at the fruitless sea. The goddess stood by him and said, "Poor man, stop grieving, please. You need not waste your life. I am quite ready now to send you off. Using your sword of bronze, cut trunks and build a raft, fix decks across, and let it take you across the misty sea. I will provide water, red wine, and food to stop you starving, and I will give you clothes and send a wind to blow you safely home. If this is what those sky gods want, they are more powerful than me. Take it their way." Odysseus, informed by many years of pain and loss, shuddered and let his words fly out at her. "Goddess, you have some other scheme in mind, not my safe passage. You are telling me to cross this vast and terrifying gulf in just a raft, when even stable schooners sped on by winds from Zeus would not succeed? No, goddess, I will not get on a raft, unless you swear to me a mighty oath you are not planning yet more pain for me." At that, divine Calypso smiled at him. She reached out and caressed him with her hand, saying, "You scalawag, what you have said shows that you understand how these things work. But by this earth, and by the sky above, and by the waters of the Styx below, which is the strongest oath for blessed gods, I swear I will not plot more pain for you. I have made plans for you as I would do for my own self, if I were in your place. I am not made of iron. No, my heart is kind and decent, and I pity you." And with those words, the goddess quickly turned and led the way. He followed in her footsteps. They reached the cave together, man and goddess. The chair that Hermes had been sitting on was empty now. Odysseus sat there. The goddess gave him human food and drink, She sat and faced godlike Odysseus, while slave girls brought her nectar and ambrosia. They reached to take the good things set before them, and satisfied their hunger and their thirst. The goddess queen began, Odysseus, son of Laertes, blessed by Zeus, your plans are always changing. Do you really want to go back to that home you love so much? Well then, goodbye. But if you understood how glutted you will be with suffering before you reach your home, you would stay here with me and be immortal, though you might still wish to see that wife you always pine for. And anyway, I know my body is better than hers is. I am taller, too. Mortals can never rival the immortals in beauty. So Odysseus, with tact, said, Do not be enraged at me, great goddess. You are quite right. I know my modest wife Penelope could never match your beauty. She is a human. You are deathless, ageless. But even so, I want to go back home, and every day I hope that day will come. If some god strikes me on the wine-dark sea, I will endure it. By now I am used to suffering. I have gone through so much, at sea and in the war. Let this come too. The sun went down and brought the darkness on. They went inside the hollow cave and took the pleasure of their love, held close together. When vernal dawn first touched the sky with flowers, they rose and dressed. Odysseus put on his cloak and tunic, and Calypso wore her fine long robe of silver. Round her waist she wrapped a golden belt, and veiled her head. Then she prepared the journey for the man. She gave an axe that fitted in his grip, its handle made of finest olive wood. Its huge bronze blade was sharp on either side. She also gave a polished adze. She led him out to the island's end, where tall trees grew, black poplar, alder, fir that touched the sky, good for a nimble boat of seasoned timber. When she had shown him where the tall trees grew, Calypso, queen of goddesses, went home. Odysseus began and made good progress. With his bronze axe he cut down 20 trunks, polished them skillfully, and planed them straight. Calypso brought a gimlet, and he drilled through every plank and fitted them together, fixing it firm with pegs and fastenings. As wide as when a man who knows his trade marks out the curving hull to fit a ship, so wide Odysseus marked out his raft. He notched the side decks to the close-set frame and fixed long planks along the ribs to finish. He set a mast inside, and joined to it a yard-arm and a rudder to steer straight. He heaped the boat with brush, and caulked the sides with wickerwork, to keep the water out. Calypso brought him fabric for a sail, and he constructed that with equal skill. He fastened up the braces, clews, and halyards, and using levers, launched her on the sea. The work had taken 4 days. On the 5th, Calypso let him go. She washed and dressed him in clothes that smelled of incense. On the raft she put a flask of wine, a bigger flask of water, and a large supply of food. She sent him off with gentle, lukewarm breezes. Gladly Odysseus spread out his sails to catch the wind. With skill he steered the rudder. No sleep fell on his eyes. He watched the stars, the Pleiades, late-setting Bootes, and Bear, which people also call the Plough, which circles in one place, and marks Orion, the only star that has no share of ocean. Calypso, queen of goddesses, had told him to keep the Bear on his left side while sailing. He sailed the sea for 7 days and 10, and on the 18th day a murky mountain of the Phaeacian land appeared. It rose up like a shield beyond the misty sea. Returning from the Ethiopians, and pausing on Mount Soloma, Poseidon, master of earthquakes, saw the distant raft. Enraged, he shook his head and told himself, "This is outrageous! So it seems the gods have changed their plans about Odysseus while I was absent. He has almost reached Phaeacia, where it is his destiny to flee the rope of pain that binds him now. But I will goad him to more misery, till he is sick of it." He gathered up the clouds, and seized his trident and stirred round the sea, and roused the gusts of every wind, and covered earth and sea with fog. Night stretched from heaven. Eurus, Nautis, blasting Zephyr, and Boreas, the child of sky, all fell and rolled a mighty wave. Odysseus grew weak at knees. He cried out in despair. "More pain? How will it end? I am afraid the goddess spoke the truth, that I will have a sea of sufferings before I reach my homeland. It is coming true. Zeus whirls the air. Look at those clouds. He agitates the waves as winds attack from all directions. I can hold on to one thing, certain death. Those Greeks were lucky, 3 and 4 times over, who died upon the plain of Troy to help the sons of Atreus. I wish I had died that same day the mass of Trojans hurled their bronze-tipped spears at me around the corpse of Peleus' son. I would have had a funeral and honor from the Greeks, but now I have to die this cruel death. A wave crashed onto him and overturned the raft, and he fell out. The rudder slipped out of his hands. The winds blew all directions, and one enormous gust snapped off the mast. The sail and yardarm drifted out to sea. Then for a long time rushing, crashing waves kept him submerged. He could not reach the surface. The clothes Calypso gave him weighed him down. At last he rose and spat the sour salt water out of his mouth. It gushed forth in a torrent. Despite his pain and weakness, he remembered his raft, and lunged to get to it through the waves. He climbed on top of it and clung to life. The great waves carried it this way and that, as when the thistles, clumping close together, are borne across the prairie by the north wind, so these winds swept the raft across the sea. The south wind hurls it, then the north wind grabs it, then east wind yields and lets the west wind drive it. But stepping softly, Ino, the white goddess, Cadmus's child, once human, human-voiced, now honored with the gods in salty depths, noticed that he was suffering and lost, with pity. Like a gull with wings outstretched, she rose up from the sea, sat on the raft, and said, "Poor man, why does enraged Poseidon create an Odyssey of pain for you? But his hostility will not destroy you. You seem intelligent. Do as I say. Strip off your clothes and leave the raft behind for winds to take away. With just your arms swim to Phaeacia. Fate decrees that there you will survive. Here, take my scarf and tie it under your chest. With this immortal veil, you need not be afraid of death or danger. But when you reach dry earth, untie the scarf and throw it out to sea, away from land, and turn away." With that, the goddess gave it and plunged back down inside the surging sea, just like a gull. The black wave covered her. The hero who had suffered so much danger was troubled and confused. He asked himself, "Some deity has said to leave the raft, but what if gods are weaving tricks again? I will not trust her yet. With my own eyes I saw the land she said I should escape to, and it is far away. I will do this. As long as these wood timbers hold together, I will hang on, however hard it is. But when the waves have smashed my raft to pieces, then I will have no choice, and I will swim." While he was thinking this, the lord of earthquakes, Poseidon, roused a huge and dreadful wave that arched above his head. He hurled it at him, as when a fierce wind ruffles up a heap of dry wheat chaff. It scatters here and there. So were the raft's long timbers flung apart. He climbed astride a plank and rode along as if on horseback. He took off the clothes Calypso gave him, but he tied the scarf around his chest and dove into the sea, spreading his arms to swim. The Lord of Earthquakes saw him and nodded, muttering, "At last you are in pain. Go drift across the sea till you meet people blessed by Zeus, the Sky Lord. But even then, I think you will not lack for suffering." He spurred his fine-maned horses and went to Aegae, where he had his home. Athena, child of Zeus, devised a plan. She blocked the path of all other winds, told them to cease and made them go to sleep, but roused swift Boreas and smoothed the waves in front of him, so that Odysseus could reach Phaeacia and escape from death. 2 days and nights he drifted on the waves. Each moment he expected he would die. But when the dawn with dazzling braids brought day for the 3rd time, the wind died down. No breeze, but total calm. As he was lifted up by an enormous wave, he scanned around and saw the shore nearby, as when a father lies sick and weak for many days, tormented by some cruel spirit, till at last the gods restore him back to life. His children feel great joy. Odysseus felt that same joy when he saw land. He swam and longed to set his feet on earth, but when he was in earshot, he heard the boom of surf against the rocks. The mighty waves were crashing on the shore, a dreadful belching. Everything was covered in salty foam. There were no sheltering harbors for ships, just sheer crags, reefs and solid cliffs. Odysseus's heart and legs gave way. Shaken but purposeful, he told himself, "Zeus went beyond my hopes and let me see dry land. I made it, cutting the abyss. But I see no way out from this gray sea. There are steep cliffs offshore, and all around the rushing water roars. The rock runs sheer. The sea is deep near shore. There is no way to set my feet on land without disaster. If I attempt to scramble out, a wave will seize and dash me on the jagged rock. A useless effort. But if I swim on farther, looking for bays or coves or slanting beaches, storm winds may seize me once again and drag me, howling with grief, towards the fish-filled sea. A god may even send a great sea monster, the kind that famous Amphitrite rears. I know Poseidon wants to do me harm." As he was thinking this, the waves grew big and hurled him at the craggy shore. His skin would have been ripped away and his bones smashed, had not Athena given him a thought. He grabbed a rock as he was swept along with both hands and clung to it, groaning, till the wave passed by. But then the swell rushed back and struck him hard and hurled him out to sea, as when an octopus, dragged from its den, has many pebbles sticking to its suckers, so his strong hands were skinned against the rocks. A mighty wave rolled over him again. He would have died too soon, in misery, without the inspiration of Athena. He came up from the wave that spewed to shore and swam towards the land, in search of beaches with gradual slopes or inlets from the sea. He swam until he reached a river's mouth with gentle waters. That place seemed ideal, smooth and not stony, sheltered from the wind. He sensed its current. In his heart he prayed, "Unknown God, hear me! How I longed for you! I have escaped the salt sea and Poseidon. Even the deathless gods respect a man who is as lost as I am now. I have gone through so much and reached your flowing streams. Pity me, Lord! I am your supplicant." The current ceased. The river god restrained the waves and made them calm. He brought him safe into the river mouth. His legs cramped up. The sea had broken him. His swollen body gushed brine from mouth and nostrils. There he lay, winded and silent, hardly fit to move. A terrible exhaustion overcame him. When he could breathe and think again, he took the goddess's scarf off and let it go into the river flowing to the sea. Strong currents swept it down, and Ino's hands took it. He crawled on land and crouched beside the reeds and bent to kiss life-giving earth, and trembling, he spoke to his own heart. "What now? What will become of me? If I stay up all wretched night beside this river, the cruel frost and gentle dew together may finish me. My life is thin with weakness. At dawn a cold breeze blows beside the river, but if I climb the slope to those dark woods and go to rest in that thick undergrowth, letting sweet sleep take hold of me, and losing my cold and weariness, wild beasts may find me and treat me as their prey." But he decided to go into the woods. He found a place beside a clearing, near the water's edge. He crawled beneath 2 bushes grown together, of thorn and olive. No strong, wet wind could blow through them. No shining sunbeam ever strike them. No rain could penetrate them. They were growing so thickly intertwined. Odysseus crept under, and he scraped a bed together, of leaves. There were enough to cover 2 against the worst of winter. Seeing this, the hero who had suffered for so long was happy. He lay down and sighed, and heaped more leaves on top, as when a man who lives out on a lonely farm that has no neighbors buries a glowing torch inside black embers to save the seed of fire and keep a source. So was Odysseus concealed in leaves. Athena poured down sleep to shut his eyes, so all his painful weariness could end. Book 6. A Princess and Her Laundry. Odysseus had suffered. In exhaustion from all his long ordeals, the hero slept. Meanwhile, Athena went to the Phaeacians. This people used to live in Hyperia, a land of dancing, but their mighty neighbors, the Cyclopes, kept looting them, and they could not hold out. Their king, Nausithous, brought them to Scheria, a distant place, and built a wall around the town, and homes, and temples to the gods, and plots of land. He went to Hades. Then Alcinous, who has God-given wisdom, came to power. Bright-eyed Athena traveled to his palace to help Odysseus' journey home. She went inside the decorated bedroom where the young princess, Nausicaa, was sleeping, as lovely as a goddess. Slaves were sleeping outside her doorway, one on either side, 2 charming girls with all the Grace's gifts. The shining doors were shut, but like the wind, the goddess reached the bed of Nausicaa, disguised as her best friend, a girl her age, the daughter of the famous sailor Demas. Sharp-eyed Athena said, "Oh, Nausicaa, so lazy, but your mother should have taught you. Your clothes are lying there in dirty heaps, though you will soon be married, and you need a pretty dress to wear, and clothes to give to all your bridesmaids. That impresses people, and makes the parents happy. When day comes, we have to do the laundry. I will come and help you, so the work will soon be done. Surely you will not long remain unmarried. The best young men here in your native land already want to court you. So at dawn, go ask your father for the cart with mules, to carry dresses, scarves, and sheets. You should ride there, not walk. The washing pools are far from town." The goddess looked into her eyes, then went back to Olympus, which they say is where the gods will have their home forever. The place is never shaken by the wind, or wet with rain, or blanketed by snow. A cloudless sky is spread above the mountain, white radiance all around. The blessed gods live there in happiness forevermore. Then dawn came from her lovely throne and woke the girl. She was amazed, remembering her dream, and in a fine dress went to tell her parents, whom she found inside the hall. Her mother sat beside the hearth and spun sea-purpled yarn, her house girls all around her. Her father was just heading out to council with his well-renowned advisers, since his people had called him to a meeting. She stood near him and said, "Dear Daddy, please would you set up the wagon with the big smooth wheels for me, so I can take my fine clothes to the river to wash them? They are dirty. And you too should wear clean clothes for meeting your advisers, dressed in your best to make important plans. Your 5 sons also, 2 of whom are married, but 3 are strapping single men. They always want to wear nice, fresh laundered clothes when they are going dancing. This is on my mind." She said this since she felt too shy to talk of marriage to her father, but he knew, and answered, "Child, I will not grudge the mules or anything you want. Go on, the slaves can fit the wagon with its cargo rack." He called the household slaves, and they obeyed. They made the wagon ready and inspected its wheels, led up the mules, and yoked them to it. The girl brought out the multicolored clothes and put them on the cart, while in a basket her mother packed nutritious food for her, a varied meal, with olives, cheese, and wine, stored in a goatskin. Then the girl got in. Her mother handed her a golden flask of oil to use when she had had her bath. Then Nausicaa took up the whip and reins and cracked the whip. The mules were on their way, eager to go and rattling the harness, bringing the clothes and girl and all her slaves. They reached the lovely river where the pools are always full. The water flows in streams and bubbles up from underneath to wash even the dirtiest of laundry. There they freed the mules and drove them to the river to graze on honeyed grass beside the stream. The girls brought out the laundry from the cart and brought it to the washing pools and trod it, competing with each other. When the dirt was gone, they spread the clothes along the shore, where salt sea washes pebbles to the beach. They bathed and rubbed themselves with olive oil. Then they sat on the riverbank and ate, and waited for the sun to dry the clothes. But when they finished eating, they took off their headscarves to play ball. The white-armed princess led them in play, like Artemis the archer, running across the heights of Taygetus and Erymanthus. She is glad to run with boars and fleet-foot deer. The rustic daughters of Zeus, the Aegis king, play round about her, while Leto is delighted in her heart, seeing her daughter far above the rest, though all are beautiful. So Nausicaa stood out above them all. But when the girl was thinking she should head for home and yoke the mules, and pack the laundry up again, Athena's eyes flashed bright. Odysseus must wake up, see the pretty girl, and have an escort to the town of the Phaeacians. The princess threw the ball towards a slave girl, who missed the catch. It fell down in an eddy. The girls all started screaming, very loudly. Odysseus woke up and thought things over. What is this country I have come to now? Are all the people wild and violent, or good, hospitable, and God-fearing? I heard the sound of female voices. Is it nymphs who frequent the craggy mountaintops, and river streams, and meadows lush with grass? Or could this noise I hear be human voices? I have to try to find out who they are. Odysseus jumped up from out the bushes. Grasping a leafy branch, he broke it off to cover up his manly private parts. Just as a mountain lion trusts its strength, and beaten by the rain and wind, its eyes burn bright as it attacks the cows or sheep, or wild deer, and hunger drives it on to try the sturdy pens of sheep. So need impelled Odysseus to come upon the girls with pretty hair, though he was naked. All caked with salt, he looked a dreadful sight. They ran along the shore, quite terrified, some here, some there. But Nausicaa stayed still. Athena made her legs stop trembling, and gave her courage in her heart. She stood there. He wondered, should he touch her knees, or keep some distance and use charming words to beg the pretty girl to show him to the town, and give him clothes. At last he thought it best to keep some distance and use words to beg her. The girl might be alarmed at being touched. His words were calculated flattery. "My lady, please, are you divine or human? If you are some great goddess from the sky, you look like Zeus's daughter Artemis. You are as tall and beautiful as she. But if you live on earth and are a human, your mother and your father must be lucky, your brothers also, lucky 3 times over. Their hearts must be delighted, seeing you, their flourishing new sprout, the dancers' leader. And that man will be luckiest by far, who takes you home with dowry, as his bride. I have seen no one like you, never, no one. My eyes are dazzled when I look at you. I traveled once to Delos, on my way to war and suffering. My troops marched with me. Beside Apollo's altar sprang a sapling, a fresh young palm. I gazed at it and marveled. I never saw so magical a tree. My lady, you transfix me that same way. I am in awe of you, afraid to touch your knees, but I am desperate. I came from Ogygia, and for 20 days storm winds and waves were driving me. Adrift until yesterday some god washed me up right here, perhaps to meet more suffering. I think my troubles will not end until the gods have done their all. My lady, pity me. Battered and wrecked, I come to you, you first, and I know no one else in this whole country. Show me the town, give me some rags to wear, if you brought any clothes when you came here. So may the gods grant all your heart's desires, a home and husband, somebody like-minded. For nothing could be better than when 2 live in one house, their minds in harmony, husband and wife. Their enemies are jealous, their friends delighted, and they have great honor." Then white-armed Nausicaa replied, "Well, stranger, you seem a brave and clever man. You know that Zeus apportions happiness to people, to good and bad, each one as he decides. Your troubles come from him, and you must bear them. But since you have arrived here in our land, you will not lack for clothes or anything a person needs in times of desperation. I will show you the town. The people here are called Phaeacians, and I am the daughter of the great king Alcinous, on whom depends the strength and power of our people." And then she called her slaves with braided hair. "Wait, girls, why are you running from this man? Do you believe he is an enemy? No living person ever born would come to our Phaeacia with a hostile mind, since we are much beloved by the gods. Our island is remote, washed round by sea. We have no human contact. But this man is lost. Poor thing. We must look after him. All foreigners and beggars come from Zeus, and any act of kindness is a blessing. So give the stranger food and drink, and wash him down in the river, sheltered from the wind." They stopped, and egged each other on to take Odysseus to shelter, as the princess, the daughter of Alcinous, had told them. They gave him clothes, a tunic and a cloak, the olive oil in the golden flask, and led him down to wash beside the river. Odysseus politely said, "Now, girls, wait at a distance here, so I can wash my grimy back and rub myself with oil. It has been quite a while since I have done it. Please let me wash in private. I am shy of being naked with you, pretty girls with lovely hair." So they withdrew, and told their mistress. Then he used the river water to scrub the brine off from his back and shoulders, and wash the crusty sea salt from his hair. But when he was all clean and richly oiled, dressed in the clothes the young unmarried girl had given him, Athena made him look bigger and sturdier, and made his hair grow curling tendrils like a hyacinth. As when Athena and Hephaestus teach a knowledgeable craftsman every art, and he pours gold on silver, making objects more beautiful, just so Athena poured attractiveness across his head and shoulders. Then he went off and sat beside the sea. His handsomeness was dazzling. The girl was shocked. She told her slaves with tidy hair, "Now listen to me, girls. The gods who live on Mount Olympus must have wished this man to come in contact with my godlike people. Before, he looked so poor and unrefined. Now he is like a god that lives in heaven. I hope I get a man like this as husband, a man that lives here and would like to stay. But, girls, now give this stranger food and drink." She gave her orders, and the girls obeyed. They gave Odysseus some food and drink. He wolfed the food and drank. He was half-starved. It had been ages since he tasted food. Then white-armed Nausicaa had formed a plan. Folding the clothes, she packed them in the wagon and yoked the mules, and then she climbed inside. She gave Odysseus some clear instructions. "Stranger, get ready. You must go to town, and I will have you meet the best of all our people. You seem smart. Do as I say. While we are passing through the fields and farmlands, you have to follow quickly with the girls behind the mules, and let me lead the way. Then we will reach the lofty city wall, which has a scenic port on either side, and one slim gate, where curved ships are drawn up along the road, a special spot for each. The meeting place surrounds Poseidon's shrine, fitted with heavy stones set deep in earth, and there the workers make the ships' equipment, cables and sails, and there they plane the oars. Phaeacians do not care for archery. Their passion is for sails and oars and ships, on which they love to cross the dark gray ocean. The people in the town are proud. I worry that they may speak against me. Someone rude may say, 'Who is that big, strong man with her? Where did she find that stranger? Will he be her husband? She has got him from a ship, a foreigner, since no one lives near here, or else a god, the answer to her prayers, descended from the sky to hold her tight. Better if she has found herself a man from elsewhere, since she scorns the people here, although she has so many noble suitors.' So they will shame me. I myself would blame a girl who got too intimate with men before her marriage, and who went against her loving parents' rules. But listen, stranger, I will explain the quickest way to gain my father's help to make your way back home. Beside the road there is a grove of poplars. It has a fountain, and a meadow round it. It is Athena's place, where father has his orchard and estate, as far from town as human voice can carry. Sit down there, and wait until I reach my father's house in town. But when you think I have arrived, walk on and ask directions for the palace of King Alcinous, my mighty father. It will be very easy finding it. A tiny child could guide you there. It is unlike the other houses in Phaeacia. Go through the courtyard, in the house, and on straight to the great hall. You will find my mother sitting beside the hearth by firelight, and spinning her amazing purple wool. She leans against a pillar, slaves behind her. My father has a throne right next to hers. He sits and sips his wine, just like a god. But pass him by, embrace my mother's knees to supplicate. If you do this, you quickly will reach your home, however far it is, in happiness. If she is good to you, and looks upon you kindly in her heart, you can be sure of getting to your house, back to your family and native land." With that, she used her shining whip to urge the mules to go. They left the river streams, and trotted well and clipped their hooves along. She drove an easy pace to let her slaves and great Odysseus keep up on foot. The sun was setting when they reached the grove, the famous sanctuary of Athena. Odysseus sat in it, and at once he prayed to mighty Zeus's daughter. "Hear me, daughter of Zeus, unvanquished queen! If ever, when that earth-shaker god was wrecking me, you helped me. May they pity me, and give me kind welcome in Phaeacia." And Athena heard him, but did not yet appear to him, respecting her own uncle in his fury against Odysseus, until he reached home. Book 7. A Magical Kingdom. Odysseus sat patiently and prayed. Meanwhile, the fine strong mules conveyed the girl to town. She reached her father's palace gate. Her brothers gathered round her like immortals. They took the harness off the mules and brought the clothes inside. She went to her own room. Eurymedusa, her old slave, had lit a fire for her. This woman had been brought from Epirus by ship, long years before. The people chose to give her to the king, because they bowed before him like a god. She used to babysit young Nausicaa, and now she lit her fire and cooked her meal. Odysseus walked briskly to the town. Athena helpfully surrounded him with mist that kept him safe from rude remarks from people who might ask him who he was. When he had almost reached the lovely city, bright-eyed Athena met him like a girl, young and unmarried, with a water pitcher. She stopped in front of him. Odysseus said, "Child, would you escort me to the house of King Alcinous, who rules this land? I have been through hard times. I traveled here from far away. I'm a foreigner, and I know no one who lives here in town or anywhere around here." With twinkling eyes, the goddess answered, "Mr. Foreigner, I will take you to where you want to go. The king lives near my father's home, but you must walk in silence. Do not look at people and ask no questions. People here are not too keen on strangers coming from abroad, although they like to cross the sea themselves. They know their ships go very fast. Poseidon gave them this gift. Their boats can fly like wings or quick as thoughts." The goddess led him there. He followed closely in her skipping steps. The seafaring Phaeacians did not see him as he passed through the town, since that great goddess, pig-tailed Athena, in her care for him, made him invisible with magic mist. He was amazed to see the ships and harbors and meeting places of the noblemen, and high walls set with stakes on top. A wonder! They reached the splendid palace of the king. Divine Athena winked at him and said, "Here, Mr. Foreigner, this is the house you wanted me to take you to. You will find them, the king and queen, inside at dinner. Do not be scared. Go in. The brave succeed in all adventures, even those who come from countries far away. First greet the queen. Autis is her name. The king and queen have common ancestry. Nausitus. Eurymedon was long ago the king over the giants, who were proud and bad. He killed them, his own people, and then he got killed as well. His youngest daughter was named Periboea. She was very pretty. Poseidon slept with her. She had a child, Nausitus, and he became the king here in Phaeacia, and he had 2 sons, our king Alcinous and Rhexenor. Apollo shot that Rhexenor when he was newly married, with no son. He left a daughter, Arete, and her uncle, Alcinous, made her his wife. No woman is honored as he honors her. She is precious to him, her children, and the people. We look at her as if she were a goddess, and point her out when she walks through our town. She is extremely clever and perceptive. She solves disputes to help the men she likes. If she looks on you kindly in her heart, you have a chance of seeing those you love and getting back to your big house and homeland." So bright-eyed Athena left him. She went from lovely Scheria across the tireless sea to Marathon and Athens, and went inside Erechtheus's palace. Odysseus approached the royal house and stood there by the threshold made of bronze. His heart was mulling over many things. The palace of the mighty king was high and shone like rays of sunlight or of moonlight. The walls were bronze all over, from the entrance back to the bedrooms, and along them ran a frieze of blue. Gold doors held safe the house. Pillars of silver rose up from the threshold, the lintel silver, and the handle gold. Silver and golden dogs stood at each side, made by Hephaestus with great artistry, to guard the home of brave Alcinous. Immortal dogs, unaging for all time. At intervals were seats set in the walls, right from the doorway to the inner rooms, with delicate fine throws, the work of women. Phaeacian lords and ladies sat upon them, eating and drinking, since they lacked for nothing. Boys made of gold were set on pedestals, and they held burning torches in their hands, lighting the hall at night for those at dinner. The king had 50 slave girls in his house. Some ground the yellow grain upon the millstone, others wove cloth and sat there spinning yarn, with fingers quick as rustling poplar leaves, and oil was dripping from the woven fabric. Just as Phaeacian men have special talent for launching ships to sea, the women there are expert weavers, since Athena gave them fine minds and skill to make most lovely things. Outside the courtyard by the doors there grows an orchard of 4 acres, hedged around. The trees are tall, luxuriant with fruit. Bright-colored apples, pears, and pomegranate, sweet figs and fertile olives, and the crop never runs out or withers in the winter, nor in the summer. Fruit grows all year round. The west wind always blows and makes it swell and ripen, mellowing pear on mellowing pear, apple on apple, grapes on grapes, and figs. A fertile vineyard, too, is planted there. They use the warmer side, a flattened slope, for drying grapes in sunshine. They pick bunches and trample them, while unripe clusters open and shed their blooms, and others turn to purple. There are 2 springs, One flows all through the garden, the other gushes from the courtyard threshold, towards the palace, and the people draw fresh water. So the gods had blessed the house of King Alcinous with lovely gifts. Hardened, long-suffering Odysseus stood there and stared, astonished in his heart, then quickly strode across the palace threshold. He found the lordly leaders of Phaeacia pouring drink offerings for sharp-eyed Hermes, to whom they gave libations before bed. Odysseus went in the house disguised in mist with which Athena covered him, until he reached Arete and the king. He threw his arms around Arete's knees, and all at once the magic mist disappeared. They were astonished when they saw the man, and all fell silent. Then Odysseus said, "Queen Arete, child of Rhexenor, I have had many years of pain and loss. I beg you, and your husband, and these men who feast here, may the gods bless you in life, and may you leave your children wealth and honor. Now help me, please, to get back home, and quickly. I miss my family. I have been gone so long it hurts." He sat down by the hearth among the ashes of the fire. They all were silent till Echeneus spoke up. He was an elder statesman of Phaeacia, a skillful orator and learned man. Wanting to help, he said, "Alcinous, you know it is not right to leave a stranger sitting there on the floor beside the hearth among the cinders. Everyone is waiting for you to give the word. Make him get up, and seat him on a silver chair, and order wine to be poured, so we may make libations to Zeus the Thunder Lord, who loves the needy. The house girl ought to bring the stranger food out from the storeroom." So Alcinous reached for Odysseus's hand, and raised the many-minded hero from the ashes. He made Laodamas, his favorite son, vacate his chair so he could sit beside him. The slave girl brought him water in a pitcher of gold to wash his hands, and poured it out over a silver bowl, and fetched a table of polished wood. A humble slave brought out bread and an ample plateful of the meat. Half starved and weak, the hero ate and drank. Majestic King Alcinous addressed Pontonous, the wine boy. "Go and mix a bowl and serve the wine to all our guests, so we may offer drink to thundering Zeus who blesses those in need." The boy mixed up the sweet, delicious wine, and filled the cups for everyone, with first pour for the gods. They made the offerings and drank as much as they desired, and then Alcinous said, "Listen, lords, hear what my heart commands. The feast is over. Go home, go to bed. At dawn, we will call more of our best men, and host the stranger in our halls, and offer fine sacrifices to the gods. Then plan how we may help his journey, so our guest may travel quickly, without pain or trouble, encountering no trouble on the way, however far away it is, until he reaches home. Once there, he must endure whatever was spun out when he was born by fate, and by the heavy ones, the spinners. But if he is a mortal, come from heaven, the gods have changed their ways, since in the past they used to show themselves to us directly whenever we would give them hecatombs. They sit and eat among us. Even if just one of us meets them alone, out walking, they do not hide from us. We are close friends, as are the giants and cyclopic peoples." Odysseus, with careful calculation, said, "No, Alcinous, please think again. I am not like the deathless gods in heaven. My height is normal. I look like a human. In pain, I am a match for any man, whoever you may know that suffers most. I could tell many stories of the dangers that I have suffered through. Gods willed it so. But let me have my meal, despite my grief. The belly is just like a whining dog. It begs and forces one to notice it, despite exhaustion or the depths of sorrow. My heart is full of sorrow, but my stomach is always telling me to eat and drink. It tells me to forget what I have suffered and fill it up. At dawn tomorrow, help me to reach my homeland, after all this pain. May I live out my final days in sight of my own property and slaves and home." They all agreed the stranger's words made sense, and that he should be sent back home. They poured drink offerings to the gods, and drank as much as they desired. Then all went home to bed. Odysseus was left there in the hall, sitting beside Arete and the godlike Alcinous. Then dishes from the feast were cleaned up by the slaves. White-armed Arete had noticed his fine clothes, the cloak and shirt she wove herself, with help from her slave girls. Her words flew out to him as if on wings. "Stranger, let me be first to speak to you. Where are you from? And who gave you those clothes? I thought you said you drifted here by sea." Planning his words with careful skill, he answered, "It would be difficult, your majesty, to tell it all. The gods have given me so many troubles. I will tell you this. There is an island, far out in the sea, Ogygia, where the child of Atlas lives, the mighty goddess with smooth braids, the crafty Calypso, friend to neither gods nor mortals. A spirit brought me to her hearth, alone, when Zeus scooped up my ship and with bright lightning split it apart across the wine-dark sea. All of my comrades, my brave friends, were killed. I wrapped my arms around the keel and floated for 10 days. On the 10th black night, the gods carried me till I reached Ogygia, home of the beautiful and mighty goddess Calypso. Lovingly she cared for me, vowing to set me free from death and time forever. But she never swayed my heart. I stayed for 7 years. She gave me clothes like those of gods, but they were always wet with tears. At last the 8th year rolled around, and word came down from Zeus that I must go, and finally her mind was changed. She sent me upon a well-bound wooden raft, equipped with food, sweet wine, and clothes as if for gods, and sent a fair, warm wind. I sailed the sea for 17 long days. On day 18, the murky mountains of your land appeared, and I was overjoyed. But more bad luck was hurled at me. Poseidon roused the winds to block me, and he stirred the sea. I sobbed and clung there, going nowhere, till my raft was smashed to pieces by the massive storm. But I swam through this gulf of water till the current brought me here. If I had tried to land at once, I would have been swept back against the crags. I swam a ways away, until I reached a river mouth, which seemed a perfect spot for landing. It was sheltered from wind, and smooth, quite free from rocks. So there I flopped and tried to gather up my strength until the holy nightfall. Then I crawled out of the rain-fed river to the bank, and hid inside the bushes, and I heaped some leaves to cover me. Some god poured down deep sleep. With heavy heart I slept all night, and through the dawn to noon, beneath the leaves. Then in the afternoon, when sleep released me, I woke, and saw girls playing on the beach. Your daughter, like a goddess, and her slaves. I prayed to her. One would not think a girl as young as her would have so much good sense. Young people are not usually so thoughtful. She was so kind to me. She gave me food and wine, and had them wash me in the river, and let me have these clothes. Now I have told you the truth, no matter what." Alcinous said, "Just one of these things that my daughter did was not correct. She should have brought you here to us herself, escorted by her slave girls, since you had supplicated first to her." With careful tact, Odysseus replied, "Your daughter is quite wonderful, great king. Please do not blame her. She told me to come here with her slaves, but I was too embarrassed and nervous. I thought you might get annoyed at seeing me. We humans on this earth are apt to be suspicious." And the king replied, "My heart is not the type to feel anger for no good reason. Moderation is always best. Athena, Zeus, Apollo, what a congenial man you are. I wish you would stay here and marry my own daughter and be my son. I would give you a home and wealth if you would like to stay. If not, we will not keep you here against your will. May Zeus not have it so. As for your journey, I give my word that you can go tomorrow. Lying down, lulled to sleep, you will be rowed across the peaceful sea until you reach your land and home, or anywhere you want, even beyond Euboea, which our people saw when they carried fair-haired Rhadamanthus to visit Tydeus, the son of Gaia. It is supposed to be the farthest shore on earth, but they were there and back that day, not even tired. That shows just how fine my ships are, and my men who stir the sea with oars." At that Odysseus, who had endured so much, was happy, and he prayed, "O Father Zeus, may everything come true, just as Alcinous has said. So may his fame burn bright forever on the earth, and may I reach my home." Then at these words, white-armed Arete called out to her attendants to put a bed out on the porch and lay fine purple blankets on it, and to spread covers and woolly quilts across the top. With torches in their hands they bustled out. They made the bed up neatly, very fast, then came and called Odysseus. "Now, guest, get up and come outside. Your bed is ready." Odysseus was glad to go to sleep after his long adventures on that bed surrounded by the rustling of the porch. Alcinous was sleeping in his room beside his wife, who made their bed and shared it.